All right, this is a project I've been wanting to work on for a while now. This is the 1,000 Days in Hardhome. Um, so we tried recording this first, but there were some audio issues, and so I had to re-record it. So it's a little past day 1,000 now. We are officially on day 1,003, but the first time I have the footage of it, I can just show it up on the screen. We were recording this on day 999. So we haven't done anything since then, so there's nothing new. So we can still appreciate the world we have, I guess. So we're gonna go in chronological order. The first thing we made was, well, we didn't make, but we started on this hill. So we started on this mountain right here. Uh, yeah, there's nothing much up here. And then I saw this mountain here, and I immediately knew I wanted to make a mountain base. Right? But of course, we didn't have anything yet, so we went down and tried to find a village. Everything here did not exist before. We built this long after, so like I said, chronological order. So the first step was past this empty valley down here was a village that spawned. So we went over right over here, cut down a few trees, put down some torches, I guess, and made our first little like hut area. This is all still here. We had some iron here in the video. You can see the coal is still here.
I
So
never I never got rid of it.
our stuff in here. No items in
We still
there, but
have
there is
iron.
some iron. There are villagers every once in a while here. We have them trapped just in case we wanted to make another village and repopulate them. So these are the villagers. According to Alexander, the Fletchers are the original ones. So these guys have been here since day one. This guy's been here since day one. This guy's been here since day one. Everybody else has been breeded. These are some of the OG villagers. They've been here since day one, and they will be here.
The Fletchers are the OG villagers. These two right here.
So after this, then we were like, okay, well, let's start working on the mountain base. The mountain base is right over there. That is what it looks like. Looks pretty cool. I knew this is kind of what the vibe that I wanted to go for. So it was pretty simple to, I guess, to make because I had the concept in my head already. So let's fly out. First thing was to actually make it up there. And then the second step was to find a way to get up to the mountain from the base level, which is why we dug this. So from the base of the mountain, if I open the map, all the way to the heart, we're gonna go all the way up Hardhome. So this is useful for people who've been here who have only been here one time or haven't been here before. There's a beacon here. We just turned it off. It's useful for transporting villagers and animals in a safe manner. That's about it, really. Mainly for aesthetics, but every once in a while we do use it. That's why the rails are here to transfer the villagers and animals down. Because obviously there's no way to get them past the steep mountain. Below, we've been working on a beacon area where we just mine, but I can show you that later. Grab a minecart and make our way up. So how it works, right, is you just get in it, you go forward, and it's going to bring you all the way up. So this takes a couple seconds. I think it's like 20 seconds about. Maybe, yeah, I think about 20 seconds. You're going from the base of the mountain all the way up. So you can see here, the higher I go up on the little machine, the map is going to change. Well, you can't see it here, but if I go here on the left, you can see the mountain gets more and more unveiled the higher I go up. You start seeing the rooms that we've built, all the builds we've made, and then we finally get to the floor. So this is the first area that we made. This is what it looks like by day 1,000, right? One of the first things we made was these like out and about wood areas in the open areas so that we can make it look like it's like there's supports on the outside, right? I want to make it look medievalish, supported by wood, natural as it could be, right? Eventually I'm thinking of changing these to stone so that it blends in even better and it looks a little stronger. But for now, I like the way it looks. Here, there's a wall of furnaces. We have this theme where any pillars we can find, any areas, we just put furnaces there because we don't have a dedicated furnace room at the moment. So we just have them scrambled all over the area. So you can see here the minecart goes straight through the heart of it, goes down, it goes up one more floor. Here we have a magnum torch, which prevents mobs from spawning. So if I open the map, it's night at the moment. If I open the map and we show all entities, mobs are only spawning in this section of the map where there's not a lot of There's not many magnum torches because there's nothing there. But you can see pretty much this entire section is completely safe because we've got 3 or 4 magnum torches protecting this area from spawns. And even if they did spawn, it's pretty hard for the mobs to get up in here. They'd have to drop down. But there are some few that can make it. Next thing we made was, after coming up here, was a nice area for the villagers. So the villagers that you saw that are down here that we'll visit later came from here. That's why the minecart rails are down here. We just needed a temporary area for them to be safe, for them to be protected, and where we could manage the upgrades. And this is where we kept them. Alexander did most of the work here. After that, I started working on down here. So now down here, I needed an area where the storage was going to be. Now this isn't the storage, but it's on the way to the storage area. So down here, this is all custom made like rock work to make it look natural. This was all hollowed out. This did not exist. Just dense, nothing, no holes, nothing. This was all, actually no. There used to be, this used to be an actual tunnel that existed. Didn't look anything like this before. And then I just expanded it, opened it up, and hollowed out this area over here. So there's a farm area, and then I wanted this sheep area where they are now to kind of look like one of Tony Stark's like one of Iron Man's labs from the Avengers movies. I don't know if I can find the image of it, but I wanted to give a similar vibe where it's like floating above everything below it. So it still looks pretty futuristic, but blends in with everything else. That's why I have it's made out of stone and the stone pillars on each end. So the farm we're currently not using because I'm expanding it. You can see over here I'm working on some projects. Here we just have a water source right here, and we have this is for you put in crops, and this is what's it called, a bone meal, or a compost farm, little mini farm. You can see yet again here, the minecart goes straight through the heart of the mountain. On the left here is an entrance for the sheep. You just go in there. They're pretty loud. They're pretty annoying, but they don't bother. And on the right, this was our first storage room. So we used to have a bunch of items here. We still have some items here. Blueberries are here, tomatoes, winters, sugarcane. There's still a lot of stuff here. We don't use this anymore. We don't have to be here anymore, so there's nothing in here that we need. A lot of miscellaneous stuff that we don't use anymore that we used to. Some tools are here, but like I said, this is useless for us now. You can see here, I can go up here in a second and show you what it looks like. Let me just, it's mainly supposed to be more of a circly area for the snow, but basically the idea is that it's supposed to look cozy. Supposed to, obviously there's a glass like ceiling, but I didn't want it to feel too trapped. So you can kind of look up into the sky and see what's going on. And it looks very nice during the day, especially with the shaders. Now here, another little furnace spot, and then the nether portal. So yeah, just overlooking this area. Like I said, nothing special going on here. There's some mobs over there where the magnum stones don't reach, but they can't see us from over here, so it's not too much of a worry. And then down here is where the actual storage is. So Alexander said we need to build a nice storage that we can, a big storage that we don't really need to think about for a really long time. So I was like, say less. I'll just farm a bunch of wood for a really long time and make ourselves a humongous storage. So he went out for a while. He came back, and when he came back, he saw this Goliath of a storage room. Now, the bottom part of the storage room can hold, I think it's just under 1.3 million items. The top part, the same thing, 1.3 million items. I think a little bit more. Yeah, I think a tad bit more. But assuming it's the same amount, it's 2.6 million approximately combined. That being said, we only have the bottom part connected to our storage terminal. This is Tom's Simple Storage, and if you go up to the block, you can access everything that is on this bottom layer of chests. So all of this is somewhere in this bottom layer of chests. We have thousands and thousands of items. If I go F1, 13,000 slots still remaining. So we're still not at the halfway mark of filling in the bottom half. But yeah, using a item where we can, right here, the JD Bluetooth is what I called it, but it's like a remote wireless terminal. We can access the storage from anywhere. So if I'm in the nether or in the end, I can use this storage. I can put stuff in, take stuff out, and craft them. Super useful, very much a necessity after we played with it. Yeah, we got a beacon here to power the storage. The only way you can access the items from anywhere, everywhere, is using a max level beacon right next to it. So we built that. Like I said, that was very early on. So the fact that we haven't even used the top half of the storage just goes to show how much we're using, but also how much we're making, because you could see we've used about what, like 700,000 blocks worth of space. Sun's coming up, and I do want to show you what that looks like because I'm not going to get another chance to do it. But down here, I'll just explain this. This is a farm. It's not ready. But here, it's a redstone area that I'm currently working on. I want to have it so that the crops, you can be harvested, and then press the block again, and then take the water back out. It's what I want. So that's still being tested, but, you know, uh, with time, it'll work properly, right? But for the longest time, we just had this, and it 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 did everything we needed it to. So if you look right here, this is like one of my favorite hours of the day, because you get this like beautiful sunrise. You get the god rays on the going through the little pillars of rock, and it looks very, very nice. The day is gorgeous. I mean, just look at that. It looks magnificent. It looks amazing. So I didn't know that the cave would look like that when I built it, because if I turn the shaders off, this is what it looks like. But thank God with the shaders, it looks phenomenal. So yeah, after that, I kind of renovated this spot, built this. This wasn't built at the same time. This was built after. Went around here, made this area. You can actually see this area is still not done. I still don't know what to put here because we haven't been working on the hard home area of this spot for a while. But we go here, and then we made a little nice little like area, balcony area. This isn't very visible on the map. All this area I tried to keep it hidden. Built this spot. We took a couple stairs here. If you go up here, it takes you to other levels that we haven't worked on, so I'm not really going to talk about them. But cross a little bridge here, and I made a nice little cow pen. We don't really need these at the moment for their leather. We have a nice little leather farm for the steak. Well, we can just buy chicken from the butchers, so we really don't need these guys. This is just kind of a nice area for them to exist. I made this like little hole for them. I thought that was nice. Coming back out, the following thing I made was hard hall. So right here, welcome to hard hall. Made this nice little area. This was all, of course, just mountain. There was nothing here, not even caves really. We hollowed it out, made a nice enormous rectangle, and just filled it up with stuff. I made the supports up top. I made the cave. I basically did all the build. Alexander focused on making the villagers. Took about as long, honestly, because the villagers are very tedious to make. Made sure everything looked nice. Everything looks gorgeous in here. Added the tree. And I wanted to have on this side, it was very hard because the hall was poking out. So I wanted to make sure that you could look out, but you can't really look in. So if I were to, so you can see here, if you go up to it, kind of overlooks the area just a bit, but it's still hidden, kind of mainly because it has to be. If I come out here, I don't really show this area too much, or I haven't covered it up mainly because it's not visible. Here's where I wanted to put an enchanting table. From the outside, you can't see this, and even from in there, you couldn't see it. From in here, you can't really see it. But I just haven't gotten around to it yet, and we don't really need one. So if I like fly down here, for example, and I land on this tree, it's very hard to see what I built. It's very much covered. And if you're anywhere on the ground, right, you see it's very difficult to see what's going on in there. You mainly just see rocks, which was the idea of it. Covered up the snow, this entire like section. It's hard to like describe it, but it's all custom, just like built snow to make it look as realistic as possible to cover up the build. After building hard hall, I think that's when we realized, okay, well now we want to start working on our little town, our little city for our fortress, right? Alexander finished a few of the a few of the librarians. He kept working on that because, like I said, it's very time consuming. Um, and then I think after that I actually built this little tower. There's nothing little towers of big word for it, but there's nothing that this tower offers other than like aesthetics, really. It's just meant to look good when you're standing here and you come up and you just see this tower perfectly wedged between this little hill and this little hill. So he wanted it to look like the building from The Witcher. It's like little island tower. So yeah, nothing over there except for a waystone. So just for aesthetics, and he was happy with it. It was built rather quickly. It did use a lot of deep slate, but we don't really need to worry about that for the moment. So after that, we started working on the actual area down below. So I'm just gonna fly down there. You can see down here, we built the outline. I'm gonna fly up because I want to show you the size of everything. So yeah, we outlined everything. That's the mountain we were just in. You can't see the interior, but you can see everything else in reference. We did the outline first, and then we walled in this area, which is called Fletchford, and this is the what came after. So, just built a bunch of houses first. The idea was to just get a, not to start working on the city aspect of it yet. I just wanted to see what would be difficult, what would be the hardest thing to do. And the hardest thing to do, I realized after building all of this, was, um, get some food in my hand, was getting the builds close enough to each other, but still looking good on their own individually. So, um, yeah, so you can see they're still pretty distant, but I wanted them to be closer, which you'll see later. We actually ended up solving. Uh, yeah, so then we filled it up, made the grass paths look all good, added decorations, and then it went from looking like a terrible village. This did not look good when I first built it, to a much cleaner area called Fletchford that we now have. Walk over here. This is the main area. This is where the villagers congregate every once in a while. Nice little lake here where the where the golems like to do the little spa. There's fishes in here that we added. There's actually room for a beacon, but we removed it just um, temporarily just because we needed to use it somewhere else. Or maybe it's just off, I think it's just off. I think it's down there. But yeah, nice area. Each building has room for houses. That's their main function, mainly for the villagers, because we're not going to use them. Any house big enough for us to use has it's going to be in its own area, basically. So yeah, nice little area. Next, we started work at the same time actually, which is where we're gonna go to next. We started working on this church, the cathedral, but we just call it the shit church. So we're forward to the inner city. We have a piston door here. On this side, which is where there's no villagers, there's a pressure plate so we can just walk in. But on the side where there is villagers, we put buttons so that they can't get through. So eventually, once we put villagers in this area, we're gonna have to change that, but until then, not yet. So this area, you're probably wondering, why are you underground? Because this area was all wasn't this low. The reason why is because I wanted, since this is the inner city, I immediately wanted you to get the sense that the builds were bigger than they actually were. So this building isn't really tall. By placing you like 3-4 blocks under, it feels much bigger than it is. This church is not as big as you think it is, as it looks right now, but by placing you underground, or technically under the ground, um, or below ground, I should say, below the surface, it looks bigger than it actually is. So I wanted you to get that scale. So you can see the walls are kind of bulging out or inwards to give you a claustrophobic feel. The bridges are going over you, so you feel trapped, so you feel smaller than you actually are. We go up this way, and this area is very new, but we're going to introduce it as if it was it's natural. I just won't explain it yet. This is the church. So, ignoring everything else in this area, it was just the church that was here. So, when I was flying above, just imagine the church being the only thing that was sitting here. It took a while for this church to be done because the tutorial Alexander was following was terrible. But this is his church. He just recently put up the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. There's some bees in here. There's an apple tree. Nice little bench for you to sit down. I can't really. There we go. Nice for you to sit down. He's got a nice little donkey here, El Burrito Sabanero. You can see, very nice. Some of his dogs. This is a political poster that we've been working on for later on, for lore for our world. Going inside, We have holy water. We have his little waystone and some trophies here, an ender chest, some nice little items. We have, let me introduce you to the people of the church. We have Apostle Braden. We have, I don't want to look him in the eye. We have Judas. We called him Judas because right now he's passive. He's passive, but we know that the second we let him out of this chair, he's just going to attack us. So until that day comes, his name is Judas. Yeah, I don't think anybody else in here is named, but yeah, here we go. John D. Minecraft. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Alexander just fills in the build with things he likes. I help him design a few things, make some few creative differences, nice choices. But every once in a while, when we want to make an announcement, I sit here and I listen to what he has to say up there. I can post a clip of the first interaction we had, which I'll do now.
Boom. All is silence in the church. We have come together today to celebrate our 1000th day. It's been a pleasure with all of you. You, Judas, in the back. I guess the Blue M. And I wish for many more, and God bless us. That is the end of today's service.
Amen, amen. We also have pig step here. We found pig step, so we worship it here. I can play a little bit. Yeah, that's pig step. I can't place it in. There we go. In here, I accidentally took a screenshot. In here, we have a nice little confession booth where you just sit, close the door, and confess. I'll add a clip of that. Alexander, I have sinned
When was the last time you confessed your sins?
3 years ago.
And for why have you come?
Guilt,
Of?
greed.
6 Hail Marys, $300 to my donation. Um, and can you buy me Gosu Yote? And then you're forgiven.
Okay, thank you. In here, we have the... It's actually not much in this tower. This is the tower you saw from the outside. Not much in here. Just simple. There's not exactly space, aside for a beacon below Earth, which is currently covered up just to keep the aesthetics in check. But yeah, other than that, this church was pretty much the only thing built in this area for a while. I mean, I guess I can include this like a little garden area, but it's not completely done yet. Built this around the same time, but like I said, there's not much. This is exactly how it looked like a while, like when we first built it. Now we can use the waystones. So I'd say after this, this is the current setting of the waystones, right? It's like a network. Wherever you go to a waystone, you can teleport to another waystone of its respective color. So if I go to the white, I can transport to any location, desert for example, that has a white waystone. Let's go back. They're color coordinated, obviously. Red is for the nether. The shaders make it look a different color than it is, but yeah. Red is for the nether. Purple is for the end. This is blue for minor locations within minor locations. And this is gold for the farms, and the colorless are miscellaneous. These are just for looks. These don't do anything. Is really this nether stuff. So we went into the nether. Go in here. This is where we spawn. The portal right outside Hardhome takes you here. And this is what modded biomes in the nether look like. You can see down here, we must have been doing something that required us to go down there. But yeah, there's a bunch of biomes that the mods have to offer. Yeah, after that, we found another fortress. So if we take the red network and go to the nether fortress. But yeah, this is the nether fortress. Okay, he's farming Wither Scout. This is what he's doing. Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, this is the next nearest nether fortress we found. Let's go back in. Then we wanted to make a gold farm, right? So to make a gold farm, I'm going to sit here for a second. To make a gold farm, you need a lot of magma blocks. And for the gold farm that we wanted to make, the easiest gold farm we wanted to make required, I don't remember, I think it was 4,400 blocks of magma, right? Uh, but we didn't know that it was an abundant resource beneath the floors of the nether. So our plan was to go into a magma spawner and just farm them out until we had enough. Now, keep in mind, they drop magma cream. You need 4 to make 1 block, which means 4,400 times 4, much more than we were expecting, and it would have taken longer than we wanted to. Fortunately, yeah, they start spawning. Fortunately, we found a way to farm a bunch, and we were very quickly able to make enough items for a gold farm. So I'm about to click into the gold farm. I look above me, all of that magma. Just imagine 4 times the amount in magma cream. That's what we were originally going to do, and it would not have been fun in the slightest. You can see the farm's working, but we got lucky and we found what we wanted. So originally the waystone was down here, and down here we have a nice guy. His name is Hellcock the Second. He's a friend. He's the son of Hellcock the First. So here we have, he died somehow. We actually have no idea how he died, but he is dead. Um, yeah, we in remembrance of Hellcock, we have here his a memorial for him, basically. Here the gold farm is up here. I can show how it works a little bit. So if you just stand, oh, if you just stand right here, assuming the egg is still up there, yeah, the piglins start dropping, and you get XP. So if I wanted to heal up my tools, I would just hold them, and there you go. A lot of XP. You can see that this is going to be following me around for a while. But let me show you how it works. Why can't I? So, way it works. Okay, so the way it works is the piglins spawn. The egg that's right here that I can't really see very well. The egg gets the regression, and they go towards the iron golem. The iron golem hits them, and then they all get triggered at him, and they all fall to their deaths. And this happens infinitely. They keep spawning, and any ones that spawn start getting pissed. So you can see they just spawned, and now they're pissed. So, uh, I think I may have gone a little bit out of order because I'd wager. Oh wow, they are not falling the way they should. Let's go back to Hardhome. So, and then the minor location, we're going to go to the estate of Pope Francis. So this is Alexander's house. You can see he did want me to look at this. So from this point on, I'm just going to record he what he said. Basically, it's going to, yeah, I'm just going to show you what he said.
Okay, this is my house, Casa República, and here we have my sign. Can you say it?
Come inside. Free tickles, free sex, no STDs.
Thank you, thank you. So we come up. Let it be known, this is the most highly decorated, and I mean highly decorated. I mean just the kitchen. Here we have my pets,
Oh,
feral wolves.
those are cute.
We come inside, and my favorite place in the entire world, my kitchen. Oh, let me turn on the lights. Sorry, guys. No, many good memories here. David beating me when I didn't make him his food when he got home from work. Um, when David just beating me in general. Great. It used to have a good view. Then shit tower got built, and I lost my great view. Here we have more propaganda. Then we have my beautiful college, Valencia College. Shout out Valencia College. They're not paying me to say this, so yeah.
Nice.
We have the calendar. So I'll tell you right now what year we're in. Okay, never mind. When they will tell you
It is
which year
currently
we're
the
in.
14th hour of the 8th day of the 62th year.
Perfect. Here we have our dinner table. You can tell as the second we leave the kitchen, it gets immediately less decorated. No. Here we have where the magic happens.
Blue M sponsored beds.
We have the TV. And then what else? We have oh my personal bar. Yeah, uh, yeah. No little kids are around here. Um, then we have my second patio. Cozy little area. Camp by the fire when it's snowing. I've actually never done this before, but it's cozy. Another outside seating area. Once again, used to have a good view before Deep State Den was built. This house is like the one house from Up, but like just slowly around it becomes a city. But then here's my second layer. Very nice. It used to be a nice entrance, but now I have this like slam into a rock. We could go into my bluffers. This is my experimenting area. So we have a brewery, silos, wine outside, and then these chests are all of my achievements, which is every single armor in the game. Funny enough, David could take half of these armors and be better than his current armor, but if he does, I just stop playing entirely. So he won't. And what else? Oh, the front of the house over here. Our permanent residents, Old Faithful, my cow to milk, Homeless Joe, and the stuffed pumpkin that's been out here for like 65 years.
Wonderful.
And you can take it away.
Okay, so at the same time, his house was being built around this area. You can see we're now entering Granite Grounds. His house and this house over here. Let me go over here. Ignore everything around this. It was his house and this one right here that was being built at the exact same time. I wanted to get an idea I wanted to build the most important things first so that I could build the least important stuff around it. That's what I learned from Fletchford. So you can see obviously you can already tell this building had much more detail or is going to have much more focus on it than anything around it. Yeah, so I built this little house here. Nice little thing to just distract, just to make space. Nothing in here, but we're planning to have it be room for the villagers. Then we built this area. This is a force loadable building. And what that means is that thanks to one of the mods we have, if we go like to this area right here, anywhere where my mouse hovers around, it highlights a chunk, a force loadable chunk. This is an exact chunk. So what I do, right, is I build houses right in the borders perfectly of a chunk so that if we build a farm within that chunk, I can press right click and right here, force load selected, successfully force load mark the chunks, which means regardless of if I'm near this place or not, if I'm in the different dimension, if I'm in the nether end, this area is going to be rendered and is going to keep being force loaded. So what we have in here is a wool farm. Now I'm gonna have to censor part of it. That's what we call the goon hall. But in here we have Alexander's. We start off with Alexander's armors. You can see his armors are nice here. Actually, I'll just show you the original recording.
Oh, it's
Right now it's an armor area. I can censor what should be seen.
um
Right now it's a
these are all also my armor sets. These are my fan favorites.
he likes to show off. Lava lamp
But yeah,
here.
this is also
And it's a
if
sheep
you look up
farm.
the sky, you don't have to censor the one in the sky.
Megan Fox.
In 2007, Michael Bay's Transformers.
Prime Megan Fox. But in here we
Here,
store
here we have our deities. You don't have to censor any of these, I believe.
I will.
Okay. Um, Mia Khalifa, Eva Elfie. Over here we have Violet Myers. Just because you're not gonna see it because they're censored. So whoever the 13 viewers see it, Violet Myers, Akano, and Rias Gremory from High School DxD, and that's the sheep farm.
Yep, we put sheep farms in here. They shear. We get wool, and this is actually one of the force loadable buildings. So you can see here. It'd be better if I go outside for a split second. Hold on. If I go outside, you can see the building fits within the bounds perfectly of this chunk, which allows me to force load it. So now it is officially unforce loaded. So certain buildings around the world are exactly within chunks in case we want to put a farm in there. This is one of those. Should we be away from this for long periods of time and it's force loaded, it'll still make stuff. If I stand right over here, the tower that you can see right here, that's also force loadable. We don't really use it for much except for a super smelter. Or not a super smelter, but a smelter that we, to make the fastest smelter we have, honestly. We just need an efficient smelter. We go in here, oh, and yeah, it just then generates a lot of stuff, cooks things very quickly, um, fast enough that we need it. Obviously, it's going to be improved later on, but for the time being, we don't need a super smelter. But this area that I'm in, it's force loadable, perfectly made for that, so that's great. It's not completely done, so I'll go from the area that's done to the area that's not done. This area right here, this side, was built first because I wanted to get an idea for the main road. So I just decorated this area first, and then I started working on the alleyway. Now, if we go here, instead of taking a left, we take a right. You go up here underneath this building, onto the side of this wall. You can see the back of Alexander's house. You see these are the alleys in the granite grounds. So now I'll show a little bit of I'll just walk through it, but I'll tell you a little secret. You can see here all the builds are nice. All the builds are nice. Yeah, and from here point, they're not done. So, nice little secret is I used the little trick force perspective to make these builds look bigger than they actually are. You can see up here, this build only really has like 3 blocks high versus this is 5 blocks high. This is, it's hard to count, but 1, 2, 3, yeah, 4 blocks high. Inside, there's nothing. There's really nothing. It is meant to look, they're facades basically. They're meant to look like they're full houses, but they're really not. Because at the end of the day, you only have to see it from the front, and it has to be functional for the villagers. So when you're up top, like let's say, here we go. When you're up top, the entire thing is right alongside the wall. The edges of the city are right here, and you can't tell because I made the build so close together and so what's it called, tall enough that you cannot see the wall, and you have no idea how deep these buildings go from the surface. So if I right here, you can tell I'm like what, 4 or 5 blocks away from the wall, but if I stand here, down here, right, it's hard for you to get a perspective, right? You can't see the wall. Once I covered it up, you'll be able to get a better sense of it. So these builds, it's very hard to tell how big they actually are, or how deep they actually are, just because I'm trying to hide it, right? They look small. Sorry, they look big. They don't look small. This entire area right here, this is all technically one big house split into different parts. So if I walk into here, you can see it's all connected. Indoors, I didn't pay much attention to it, obviously, because you're not going to see the indoors. That's not the purpose of it. But yeah, that's what this area is meant for. Then we loop around. We have this building, which is an exact mirror of the one from the front, but you can't tell because you can't put them side by side, right? See, it's just a little different. It's not exactly, but it's different enough. So you can see here, these builds are facades. There's nothing really. Nothing much, just meant to look fake, just meant to give the idea of bustling areas. In the back of the buildings, I tried putting more more campfires than necessary to give the idea that there were more builds than there actually were, that there were more buildings behind than there actually were. And yeah, that's pretty much Deep Slate Grounds. This and the gold farm was all built around the exact same time. Let's go this way, and I'll just go to the new area for right now. This is the Deep Slate Den. So Alexander put his big brother is watching you. He likes putting these all over the place. So this is the most recent area. The left archway, like I said, there's 2 entrances into Deep Slate Den. This is the more hidden way where it kind of gets a little darker. And then you pop into this side, a small little alleyway, using the exact same technique I used in the granite area, putting the build so up in your face that you cannot tell that, okay, well, Alexander blocked the entrances for now, but it's the same thing, wall, except this one's even closer. The wall is like 2 blocks away from the entrance of the homes. You can see the builds look bigger than they actually are. Its chair made everything look weathered, made everything look a little darker. This is the only big build that I intended to build. It's not a force loadable build, but I did want a slightly bigger building, just for any future reasons. Maybe this could be a nice house for someone. This bridge over goes into this house that there's nothing in here for. It's just not really a facade. It's an actual like usable house, but There's nothing here. We go down here, and this is the force loadable build. So it looks like it's a bunch of different builds put together, especially when you can't really get a good look at it. It looks like it's more like a collage of buildings, but in reality, you walk in and it's empty. And this build is force loadable. It is perfectly within the force loadable chunks. Obviously, like I said before, meant to house a farm, something practical so that we can make use of the force loaded chunks. Um, yeah, the entire thing is one build, and it's one facade, one real facade split up into multiple facades. Obviously, right now you can look in and see it, but eventually that's going to be covered up. Different entrances, different woods to make it look different. Alexander did a lot of the interior work. You see builds all over the place, builds all over the place. He decorated a lot of these, filled them up, made them look very nice. You're not supposed to really get a good look of them. I don't want you to be able to tell that these builds are not highly detailed. They're not like smart designs. They're just very simple. And by putting them close and compact and overcrowding with details on the ground level, it's very hard for you to get a sense of what the build looks like from a distance, basically. So yeah, we keep walking over on here. We take a left. Some more builds. This one's a longer one. Very nicely decorated on behalf of Alexander. Over here, there's this nice little area for a campfire, a little bench where you can sit down. And this is like the only spot in here where you can see the outdoors. You can see the outside of what the world looks like, which will eventually be covered up by a spruce forest surrounding us. We go this way. We get a nice little view of Alexander's church coming out of this alleyway with a marketplace that we just built. Like I said, no room for anything else other than villagers in the future. This area is not meant to be practical, just to look nice. This connects back up to this main area where we started, and a nice little loop. So everything we just went through was this entire like section, basically. We went around. We also built this. This was the entrance of one formal entrance into the area and one formal exit. So if you can see here, from the outside, it looks like a standard build, like a little house. Doesn't look good, but I want to cover it up later. But it's actually the entrance to Hardhelm is the name of the city. So from the outside, you can't tell what you're walking into. You won't be able to tell you're going into a build. You can just see that it's the entrance into the wall. You go in, walk in, and then you're in. This area is called Uptown Hardhelm, right? Back here, this is just a build and there's nothing in there. And here is we have our sugarcane farm. This area, this build is not force loadable. It's not perfect. You can only force load 50% of it. But if you go up here, there's a sugarcane farm that's making more than we need. And we also, and by we, I mean Alexander built this. We put one down here that's also making more than we need. So that's good. So that's pretty much the entire tour of Hardhelm. So that was pretty much everything we've built in the city as of now. The next plans are to build over here. It's kind of covered by the snow, but these are where we plan on building next and just completing the city. We have about 50% of it done. With time, we'll make more. So another area we built to be able to make as much wood to do this entire wall you see here, and for all the builds that require a lot of wood, was make spruce mount, which is basically a nice walled-in area just for the sake of protection, where we can just farm spruce without any problems. Thanks to the mods that we have, we can cut it down extremely quickly. So if I wanted to cut down a tree, I just bam, and all of the wood of that tree is mined instantly. It takes the health away of your pickaxe, but like I said, we have a gold farm, so we don't really need to worry about XP. Super easy, super simple, and if needed, we can change it for any other wood that we need at the time. I think Alexander, we were farming dark oak here for a little bit, but now we changed it to spruce. I forgot why we changed it to spruce, but we did. One thing you'll notice, this entire area is within perfect chunks. So any section of this area is force loadable. The reason why is because I wanted this area, I wanted the trees to grow regardless of if we were there or not. Right now, it's not force loadable. None of this is force loaded, so it won't grow unless we're here, but mainly because we don't need it. But the day we start farming it, every once in a while we just sit here and farm. We turn it on to be force loadable, and then it'll start growing regardless if we're there or not. Alexander built this. This is Epstein's little monastery, his little monument, his little hut. He put his stuff. After we built the nether and we built the farm, well, actually, right after the gold farm, we took a little break and then built the barter farm. We basically just used the gold from the gold farm, put it in here, give them a torch, bam, turn it on, and then little by little, well, I say a lot by a lot, they start making more items than we know what to do with. So you can see here, every once in a while, we just have to grab the useless stuff and then just bam, just throw it in there because we don't need half the stuff that they're making. But this is why we don't need leather farms. We don't need the cows. Blackstone, we can make concrete with the gravel. Nether bricks, we have a lot of ender pearls. Quartz, a good quartz farm. There's string, which is good. Spectral arrows. It's a mini iron farm. You can see here they're making iron nuggets. Every once in a while we use them for their iron. That's where most of the gold goes. Now this farm is relatively slow, but they still chug the gold fast. So whenever we have a lot of gold or we just don't have anything else to do really, we just sit here. They eat, if the dispensers are full, the droppers are full, they eat all of it in about half an hour. That's how much it takes. So yeah. We then built the wool farm, which we've been to already. Then we built the creeper farm. I will let Alexander explain this. Can you describe it? Describe the story of this area.
So it used to be a humble area before when David came here, ruined my vibe by calling it. I think we still have it up here.
It's still here. I called it Shit Creeper Farm, courtesy of Ale Gordo Gamer. Orlando has issues.
So the concept of this is that there are 5 layers. Each layer in the middle there is a snow golem. You can't really see inside, but there's a snow golem inside each middle. While creepers aren't aggressive towards snow golems are aggressive towards creepers. So the snow golems will hit the creeper, causing the creeper to like walk to the middle, which has a little trap, set them to fall down to the very bottom. And at the very bottom, you just hit them. But be careful because if you get too close, they start to blow up. So you have to get close, swipe, get close, swipe, and there's no way to counter that. And that's how I want to make a very complex farm. So in the meantime, it's in the state like that. But we also have no shortage of gunpowder, as you can tell.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
And here's the AFK spot. A little cup.
Beautiful. And next to the creeper farm, we have the first civilization that we found. So, with the mods that we have, certain villages can be named, and there are different villagers in different regions of the world, different biomes. The first one we found, or the most important one we found, is called Zork Loritron. So, I'll let Alexander explain that a little bit.
When David did not believe me that it was actually called Zircaloritron.
No. He goes up to me, he goes, yo, I found this area. I'm like, what's it called? He goes, Zorkaloritron. So obviously, being the trusting...
Oh, the beanstalk is here. I forgot I added that.
He just put this beanstalk there, yeah. So the people of Zorkaloritron...
Crashed my game.
Did it really crash your game?
No, but it did yesterday, like a few times.
So the people of Zorkaloritron are pumpkins. This is what they look like.
Funny enough, where we got our first pumpkins was from here. Also, in the Great War against the pillagers, they sent some of their people to help fight in the war. Many Zircaloretronians were lost that day.
A shame, a tragedy.
Shame, honestly.
Very aesthetic area though. It's by the shore and it's got these wonderful redwood-like trees. They're called chica trees. During the process of making the gold farm, I did explain that we needed a turtle egg. We needed to find turtles, so we camped out all the way over here. If you're wondering how far this is where we are now. If I scroll all the way over here, this is Hard Helm. So that is the distance. What is that, like 4,000 blocks away? All the way over here in Journey of Finding Turtles, which we never did here. You can see we even got desperate. Alexander put up a temporary worshipping joint so that we could, worship. Eventually we did find turtles. So we abandoned this place completely. Might make a nice area here. I did want to make something cute here, but until then, this area is currently abandoned. In terms of major locations I can show you, we have the desert. This is where we mine mine all of our sand here. You can see here we've gotten to work on this spot right here, this line. We've seen the desert, we've seen Hardhome, we've seen the Nether, Pyrotor, Spruce Mount, and Zorochloratron. Um, for the end, we've missed the end. Let's go in here. So once we found our end portal, we made sure we put wade stones here so that we can get back here simply. And with mods, this area looks very different. Towers are very different. You can see here the mess, the rampage that we left when fighting the Ender Dragon is still here. A lot of the toughest mobs spawn. Well, not the toughest mobs, the most annoying. You can see I don't want to look at him. But the Enderman, the guy with his mouth open, he is very, very annoying to fight. Luckily, we've got some weapons that can counter him, but he is no less annoying. You can see there's a bunch of him over there. There's one over here. Mutant Endermen also spawn, but there are none here at the moment, so we won't be seeing any. For a little bit, we farmed some, but now we don't need that. And let's get back to the waystone so we can get to the... oh no, I'll just walk to it. We can get to the deep end. Usually, we make this look prettier with time, but for now, this is the ugliest area of the world. Just because... Oh, I almost fell off. Just because we've spent little time here, and we don't need to spend as much time here. So, get in here, swim, and fly through. And here we are. This is the deep end. If I had taken the waystone, I want to hide. This is where it would have taken me. So if I'm in the end, we're in here. I take the network into the deep end. It takes me here. Oh, you can actually see in there, there's a mutant Enderman. Look at him. I will not be fighting him because, oh, wow. Because I don't know if I can win. So, another thing we have in here is our home, is the end outpost. But I want to give you a sense of scale for this biome with mods. You can see in the map, this area is very different from vanilla. So I'm gonna fly. I'm gonna take a big risk and fly. We did it in the original recording, so to honor that, I'm gonna do it in this recording. Oh, gonna fly. This is what everything looks like. It's very, very cool. There's a new biome over there that we haven't been to. We walk through all of this. There's little signs that we struggled here. You can see here. There's a bridge. Went through over here. Walked over here. You can see here is our little hut. This is the end outpost number 1. JD and El Gordo end outpost 1. In here, we need to make sure we have someone chasing me. No. We need to make sure we have enough light, so we put this guy here, we put this here. We have some chests of our struggles. It wasn't all that easy getting here, to be honest. And we have this all right next to this little portal, which Alexander doesn't want to activate because he doesn't want to deal with it. Right next to these ruins that we can activate a portal with.
I don't want to do it. It's like a super annoying process to do it.
Which is fine. If we go over here, we were looking for a city, which we ended up finding. There it is. You can see we were building. Alexander died here a lot. And I think we have a waystone here. So let's see. Oh, we have a little house here, actually. We built to protect us from suffering. Is there anything in here? No. It was purely just to protect us from our suffering. So let's see. I think we should have a waystone in here. Yeah, there is. So there is a waystone in here. But yeah, let's fly back now. Very nice area. It's very dangerous, of course. You can see our getting here was not exactly the safest thing. And we struggled a lot. But what matters is we made it in the end. Am I running out of fireworks? 8. Completed the nether. We've completed the end. We've completed the major locations in the overworld. We've done all the farms. Minor locations we've also done. You can see the cathedral, Alexander's house, Fletchford, Hardhall, Hardhome, and Uptown. We've done all of that. And now here we go. These are the miscellaneous locations. So if we go deep slate mining, this is underneath Hardhome, sorry. It's underneath the mountain. You can see Hardhome. And we're currently just mining this out just for funsies. Whenever we need deep slate, we go in here. There's actually it's very easy to trigger a warden, so over there we die a lot. But yeah, mainly just mining, making space just for the sake of it. And in the you kill two birds with one stone. You make a nice, cool, giant area, and you get a lot of deep slate and ores in the process. So it's very cool. Yeah. Let's see. And I think that's pretty much about it. Yep. So that is about it. This was the 1,000 days in Hardhome. Let me turn on the chunks just because I want to get a better view of everything. This was 1,000 days in Hardhome. It's been a very long journey, over like 2 months, but we've been working hard. Very nice area. And I guess I'll put a before and an after. I should have the save file, so I'll have the earliest save file of how it looked. So from the we'll see. But yeah, this was 1,000 days.